guys, this is Chauncey from Good Music to Know, and today I'm joined by Max Poscente, the artist behind About You. Welcome back for a full circle conversation. After years of collecting stories from friends, fans, and strangers, he shaped those voices into songs that now live on his debut album, The Lighthouse, The Storm, a record that moves between identity and intensity, blending raw guitar work, 808s, cinematic strings, and atmospheric textures, and we're super stoked to have him here today, so welcome.
Wow.
Last time we spoke, the Lighthouse, The Storm was still becoming something. It was still taking a shape. So now that it exists as a full body of work, what surprises you the most about how the record changed between the idea stage and the finished album?
I think now that it's out, what I'm most surprised by is how much it really feels like an exact representation of what I wanted to do. I think through making it, there are moments where I'm like, this is exactly we nailed it. And then there are moments where like, man, we totally messed up. And every decision we made was the wrong one. And like when you listen to something one way and then somebody steps into the room, the second this person steps into the room, the way you listen almost like is affected by their presence. You almost feel like you're listening empathetically through their ears in some ways. Do you ever experience that?
Yeah. I had the same thing with the Kendrick CD. I hated it at first, and I spoke to my friend. She's like, go back and listen to it again. Really, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah. I think like listening to it like as like a body of work that exists in the world and not just on my private hard drive or whatever. I'm like, no, this is what I set out to do all those years ago. Yeah, I'm very proud of it. Proud of it. And it was surprising, I think, how even now I'm like, nope, that's exactly it. Yeah, I guess I'm surprised how much I still feel like it's relevant. I think it's when I'm like at the heart of it.
Yeah. And the lighthouse image, it's definitely powerful. Like a lighthouse doesn't necessarily stop the storm, but it definitely helps to like navigate you through it. So in the context of the album, what does the lighthouse represent to you?
It's the music, it's life's purpose, like constantly finding and refinding purpose in life. I was talking to a friend of mine, his name's Brant, the other day at the album release party, and he's a great human, very supportive friend, and he was talking to me. He's like, I feel like this record is your love letter to humanity, which is an incredible compliment to receive. It's really true. That is what it is. Sometimes it takes other people holding up a mirror to show you like what a thing is. Truly, it feels like a love letter to humanity. Although I'm more of a fan of faith than I am hope. Not in a religious context, just like the pursuit of faith is so much stronger and hope is kind of flickering. But sometimes you just need a little bit to have hope to have faith. Yeah, the lighthouse, I think, represents that even at times when it's pitch black and completely hopeless. I think you look hard enough, there's always just a little bit of hope. And the storm is just the life that we live in chaos. I don't need to take myself that seriously.
No.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like faith through uncertainty.
Yeah.
Kind of, at its core.
You start and end the album with that same kind of like low oscillating, almost vibrating soundscape. So how did that decision come about?
You're talking about like the interlude bookends?
Yeah, so if I'm not mistaken, I listened to it again today, and the start of the track 1 leads you into track 2, but that same sound is repeated again at the final track. But I think you're saying like goodbye to the blue light or goodbye to something, but those are the exact same, if I'm not mistaken, it's the exact same sounds. So I was curious, like, how did that decision come about to kind of end it the way it started or start it the way it ended? Yeah.
I love a bookend. I love
Same.
I feel like, it completes the circle. I do quite a bit of film scoring and sound designing and mixing for film.
Oh, cool.
And I love flexing that muscle musically. And this was kind of me flexing that muscle a little bit. The sound itself came about because when I came up with the title, The Lighthouse, The Storm, it gave me direction on the interludes. I knew I wanted to have interludes and like breaths, moments of ambience between the tracks where there's so much information. The songwriting is there. The tracks are dense. But these interludes could be a moment where there's not a lot going on. It's super simple, almost kind of a meditation a little bit. I meditated every day for 1 to 3 hours.
Wow.
2020 to 2022. For about 2 years, I meditated every day for a good chunk of time. And I also make ambient music. I love ambient music, and I love like music that has you take a breath. So it came about trying to like bring that into this, like the film scoring, the love of ambience, and also tying the story together. Tying the story of the lighthouse, the storm. The way I recorded it was pretty funny. Basically, I just wanted to make the sound of a lighthouse, like a really
Like when you listen to it.
yeah, like if you listen in headphones or if you listen in spatial audio or something, you can hear the sound of something circling you.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe I'll divulge exactly how I did that another day, from like some gearhead thing. But
That was the exact same feeling I had listening to with headphones today as well. Yeah, it was really cool.
yeah, good.
That was
But
traveling around your head, and in that moment, you could definitely envision, obviously, the spinning of the light, but it was perfectly done. Yeah, it's super cool.
wow, perfect. Thank you. That's high praise. Perfectly done. It's a good way to start the day.
Yeah.
Perfectly done.
And I know About You turns real people's stories into songs, but once you adapt someone's experience, where does the boundary sit between the truth and then like your voice as a writer?
It's something I'm constantly reevaluating. I think the line is incredibly blurred because I'm going to tell this story to the best of my ability through their lens. But inherently, because it's coming out of my brain, it's going to be filtered through my life experience and the things I gravitate towards. Great question. I'm constantly trying to make sure I keep that in check. And when I am telling other people's stories, I'm doing their story justice first and foremost.
I read this, but we also talked about it during our first interview. But I know you described the album as a part of, what was it, the future of rock, or the future sounding of rock, because you pull in so many different genres. So there's house, there's hip hop, there's 808, garage rock, folk. So which combination of this record felt the most risky at first, but ended up working?
Oh, definitely the house. We started recording this beginning of 2020. House had this resurgence, and it was kind of out of like post-COVID. People want to party, not in the same way they did pre-COVID. If you notice, like close a little earlier post-COVID, but people all the less want to party. Renaissance, Beyonce, and the whole world kind of took this like house direction. Living in Berlin, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure people talked about it, but yeah, that felt incredibly risky then. The funny thing about feeling like you're being innovative or being innovative even is that if you just hold on to what you feel is innovative long enough, somebody else is going to do it, because a good idea isn't yours. It's for anybody, it's really just whoever does it first.
Yeah.
And yeah, so in that way, like it wasn't totally original. Like people have done it before, but it felt like pushing rock and roll in like a house direction was like extremely risky. And there's a handful of bands that I'm a big fan of that do that. But since then they've just blown up, like Model Actress is one. They're incredible. If you don't know them, Model Actress is like industrial house music played with like a rock band setup. It's just like drums, bass, guitar, vocals. They're so badass. And we went to Berkeley together.
I went back to watch some of the music videos, and Mona, I really love the Mona music video. It tells like a parallel story through movement and intimacy, especially through the interpretive dance and the mirrored environments. But I have to say, the ending shifts into something a bit more ambiguous. She starts the video starts and they're in the tub together, and then it ends and she seems almost in a panic, and you just see one hand risen above the water. So was the visual there to resolve the story or complicate it a bit?
To complicate it. Yeah, that would be more of a product of our initial idea, which was very big budget. We couldn't do, so how do we do it with limited budget, and how do we tell the same story? But to answer your question, to complicate the story.
Okay.
To further, end on a kind of a sour note.
Yeah.
Simply.
I was not expecting that when I was watching it. I knew maybe something was happening because then they had there was like that, that Willy Wonka scene where he's like, "There's it glowing in," and all the crazy lights are happening.
Yeah.
There was that moment in the video. So I was like, okay, obviously something's going to happen that maybe is a bit more sinister, but I wasn't expecting it to end like that. But yeah, I really loved it. It was cool.
Well, thank you. Yeah, that's all the work of just incredible collaborators. That's Cyrus Stowe, Marie Marchant, and Teo Michel. Cyrus and Marie co-directed, and Teo produced it. And the four of us really like for months, about a year, planned that video and just pulled it off in the end with like a fantastic team. And that's also Riley Donovan was the DP for that. Yeah, just an incredible team of friends. And those dancers are also incredible. My girlfriend Maggie choreographed it.
Oh, is she a dancer as well?
She's a dancer as well. Yeah, she
Nice.
is a fantastic dancer choreographer. Pretty much any dancing done in any of the music videos results in Maggie. But yeah, thanks for picking up on that detail.
Well, speaking of Maggie, I think she's also in the What If I Could video.
Oh yeah.
So was this a song dedicated to her, or was it a song from a fan that you kind of interpreted as a love song written to her? But that almost sounds like Inception. But what's the story behind What If I Could?
It is a love song, to answer your question, to her. A song I wrote for her. And my internal struggle with committing to forever and the fear of commitment. And ultimately, what I landed on is if it feels right at this moment, then that is right. And what it feels like in, 20, 30, 40, 50 years, we'll see. But right now it feels right. But originally that song started because I was just making money in LA, like trying to find a way to pay rent. As we talked about, it's a pretty expensive city. This guy was paying me to write songs for him, which is kind of like a funny niche I carved for myself. He's not like a famous anything. He's just some guy who he's family. He's a nice man and family friend, and he wanted me to just turn some of his lyrics into songs, or just write him songs from the jump. And he gave me the prompt to write an anthem. I'm like, okay, an anthem, got it. I can write an anthem. And he's like, yeah, like, Purple Rain. Basically just listed like the greatest songs of all time. I'm like, okay, so you want me to write a greatest song of all time anthem? Got it. I came up with this. I have a combo organ. Do you know what that is?
A combo organ? No.
It's like a furniture piece from the 70s that every house in the States had, where it's a 2-story keyboard. And then the feet also have bass pedals.
Oh, yeah. You see churches, right? And like the old Southern churches.
Old Southern churches have them. And most houses in the 70s used to have them because they're really beautiful pieces of furniture. And then they also have like a drum machine on them. So all of them have like a,
yeah.
So this one, you go through it, and one of them is like a, and then when you play the foot pedals with it. So anyways, kind of see where I'm going with this. I built this beat out of just playing with this organ, and I'm singing this melody. What if I could? That the more I played with it, I'm like, wow, this kind of feels like LCD Sound System in a way. And I don't know if I want to give this to him. It's interesting when you give yourself the prompt, like what comes out. And it's like the prompt is iconic anthem. I'm like, okay, let me see what I come up with. And who knows if that's an iconic anthem or not, but that was at least like my stab at it. And I held on to it for a bit. Jeff's accident happens where he loses both his hands in a physical accident, which we talked about in the last interview. In between amputation surgeries, we're on FaceTime, not sure if he's going to do music or not. And I ask him if he wants to hear this idea I had. And that's the idea that I held on to. So I go over to the organ, start playing the foot pedals and the beat machine. He starts having ideas for the song. We start writing over FaceTime. In between his amputation surgeries, we start writing over FaceTime. And that song ends up becoming the first that we record after his accident. About 2 months to the day after his accident, we were back in the studio. And it was with the help of a huge crew, Bo Bedford included, and Ian Chang, Scott Lee, myself, and Jeff. Jeff and I decided we wanted it to be like this kind of everything we would want to say in a love type of love song. So for me, it was for Maggie, and for his contributions that he gave to the song. It was inspired by his fiancée, Monica, and Monica, like a true angel. The whole album, she played a huge part in the record being made on every level. And one of the interludes, actually, you can hear her talking. It's like Jeff, Monica, their daughter Lola, they're all talking together. So yeah, What If I Could, love song to Maggie. Ultimately, Jeff and I's song post his accident. That song means a lot. It means a lot to me.
Yeah. So God Don't Let Me Lose My Mind is probably one of my ultimate favorite songs. Also, it nearly makes me cry every time I hear it, so I can't really listen to it too much. Like, I definitely get a tear in my eye. Uh, yeah,
That's
it carries a huge emotional and like orchestral weight without losing intimacy. So when you're writing something kind of that intense, how do you know when to stop adding and like let the emotion breathe?
I think every chance you get to let emotion breathe, you should take it. Space is more powerful than sound, m more often than not. Like,
Yeah,
you could say something, provocative to a friend and then go silent, and that silence is gonna be the loudest part of what you said,
yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Instead of just keep going, keep going, keep going, keep adding noise. On this record, we could, in retrospect, I think, could have practiced more silence, but it turned out how it did, and I love it. And the next one will do that. We'll be using space and silence a bit more. But to answer your question, I think for me it's really easy to throw a million things at a wall. I can come up with ideas all day. It's just knowing which ones to pick and knowing which feel the best and knowing when to stop. So yeah, to answer your question, it's really just a matter of checking in with yourself. I guess just trusting your gut really and like following your intuition and trying to find every chance you get to give it space.
But I think the interludes provide a moment of respite for listeners, which is quite nice because some of the songs are, filled with such high intensity and they're like really in your face and they like kind of command you to listen. But that's why I like the interludes that you added. So before the last time we talked, obviously there wasn't the Jesse interlude. And I think there were like two more sections that kind of create this ebb and flow, like it's a full journey throughout the album. So I do think there's still room for the emotions to breathe without words being said. But yeah.
Yeah.
Let's say this debut album freezes a version of you in time. What part of yourself do you think this record captures most clearly?
What a great question. Anytime you put something into the world, it does freeze a moment of you in time. Like even just like an Instagram post, like a post of like whatever outfit you're wearing that day. It's like, 10 years later, it's like, oh yeah, I loved wearing that, you know? And maybe it looks ridiculous in 10 years, but I think this captures the time in my life where I was meditating a lot. I was doing a lot of finding myself. Yeah, I think it captures an altruistic pursuit side of me. I can't say whether or not altruism exists or it doesn't, but I can't say the pursuit of it definitely does. It feels kind of like it captures my pursuit of that, like trying to be the best possible version I can be of myself
Yep.
in, into the world, into my community, my people, into myself. And also because it so closely explored spirituality, like also the best, most aligned and true, maybe like spiritual side of myself, but not side, but there's something in there. I don't, not quite now. I can't put it to words maybe right now, but I don't know. Does that answer the question? Did I
Yeah.
answer that? Okay.
And then the minute the call ends, it's just going to hit you. You're like, this is what it is.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
if this album is one chapter, what kind of chapter comes next? Like, do you already hear where the sound might go next?
That's the beautiful thing about taking so long to do one thing. It's really easy to plan for the next amidst it all. So yeah, next record I'm excited to say is already underway. The vision is pretty clear. I always maintain flexibility for the unexpected to slightly shift things or totally shift things. But yeah, I think it helps the future sound of About You. Tons of artists like have the pendulum kind of swing, you know. This is how this record sounded. It's almost like dating people, like you date somebody like outgoing and like loud, and the next person you date might be a little more like reserved or something, you know?
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, something like that. But I always want to creatively push myself. I never want to repeat myself.
Yeah. Yeah. What else do you have on the agenda for 2026? So I know the record just came out in February. Do you have any shows coming up? Any touring gigs? What do you have planned?
We'll tour the US quite a bit. I'd love to get overseas and play some shows. It really just depends if we can land some solid enough like festival gigs that help like basically just pay for us to get over there. But for sure, North America, US, Canada, Mexico is in the cards for us in 26. A tour will announce soon. So just keep your eyes peeled on the any About You social media pages.
Very cool. I
Yeah.
think those are the main questions I had for you, but are there any final words that you'd like to leave your fans and the listeners with?
Thank you for listening to the record. And yeah, I'm grateful for your support. I think that's That's it.